Now, the fifth reason is I believe that nonprofits must maintain that independence which has characterized their history in this country, if they want to do their jobs well, serving as an intermediary between politics, business, and government. It is, I maintain, the unique quality of nonprofitness that has been the backbone of our civil society over the years. It is that which has enabled nonprofits to give voice to the voiceless, to challenge governments, to monitor and hold accountable corporations, to organize constituencies, to influence public policy, and to generate that crucial amount of scientific and medical research that has been so important to our country. It has done these things because it has been independent, not because it has become more like businesses or politicians. In short, nonprofits don't need new regulations or standards to be effective activists or promoters of democracy. What they do need, though, is tough, visionary, and courageous leadership. And we're going to have to try to create that leadership in the coming decades. The culprit for a nonprofit lack of activism and their political lethargy is not the current rules of the game, but it is, as I mentioned in the editorial, citing Pogo, we have seen the enemy, and it is us. Thank you. There are so many issues on which nonprofits ought to be speaking out and putting their muscle into, that they're not doing it. For example, how many nonprofits have had the guts to challenge foundations, corporate donors, United Ways throughout the country in the pattern of their giving, which has in fact neglected poor people, has refused to fund advocacy, has in fact supported primarily established organizations. You can almost count the number of nonprofits on the fingers of both hands. And I might add that the National Congress never raised that as a major issue in its meetings all over the place. You read the report, there's not one sessions attacking foundations for the pattern of giving which discriminates against those small organizations that were part of the National Congress. How many nonprofits have attacked the excesses of corporate America? You can put those in the fingers of one hand. They haven't had the guts to do that. So you go issue after issue after issue. The nonprofits have not been willing to speak out. By God, if they can't do it on issues that really are essential to their, quote, bottom line or to their existence, I don't know what it is. They should focus on those issues and not try to get involved in politics, which at the same time would endanger their tax status. Nonprofits do take tax benefits in exchange for which they have made a bargain not to be involved in politics. They ought to stick by that and focus on those issues they ought to be active on. You have the whole world of philanthropy, you have inequities in income and wealth, all those issues. Most of them are mute. One of the problems with our nonprofit world, and I think Robert is right on this, is that we have too many old fogies, and I'm glad I'm retired, and we have people who are not willing to make opportunities available to young people. They're not hiring them, they're not promoting them. In many cases, they are scared to death of them intellectually and in terms of energy. And if you look at 100 nonprofits and ask them how many of you have a succession plan, maybe one or two will raise their hands and say, we do. That shows they're not planning for the future. So there is a great opportunity and a great hope in young people. They must be given the opportunities to succeed. One of the interesting things I might add in terms of activism, you do not have public service under the Corporation for Community National Service or a Peace Corps that you used to have. Young people are precluded from being politically active and from advocacy. largely by this administration, but also started in the Clinton days. That is not the type of folks who were in VISTA, in Peace Corps, in the CETA programs back in the 60s, 70s, up to the early 80s. They were told that they could advocate, they could fight, they could organize, they could support actively. We've got to change that. We've got to have community service that includes activism, that includes more than just providing social services or mental services. So if you want to change things in this coming new administration, hopefully Democratic, then that's one issue where young people can be put to work doing politically active stuff, doing organizing, mobilizing constituency, and doing social change. Our young people today in community service are precluded, by and large, from doing that.